What's up, guys? My name is Zach, and today I am driving a 1965 Chevy Corvette Stingray. Up front is a 5.4-liter V8, and down below is a 2-speed automatic transmission. Now, I'm super excited to be driving this C2 Corvette because, well, I've never driven one before. This is the second generation of Corvette that debuted in 1963 and ran until 1967, so a decently short span for sure, but a very important era for the C2. So I'm excited to share all of that with you today. But if you would like to submit your own vehicle, you can head on over to my website, zackpradel.com/submit. It's a quick and easy submission form. It takes under a minute to fill out, and I come out to you. But let's get back to that 327 V8 under the hood. Well, that was what the C2 came with. It's a really excellent engine, and I'll put the stock horsepower up on the screen for whatever it was rated at back in 1965. It is a really fun driving experience, and as I've mentioned in other Corvette reviews, besides the C1 where they did offer an inline 6 for a very short amount of time, the Corvette has always been a V8. 65. Thank you. And that's what I've always admired about the brand. They've always stayed true to what they wanted to do, and, well, that was a V8. Now, this is a more leisurely roadster type feel than the heart-pumping Z06s we might be used to today, but it was surely on its way. This car handled and drove a lot better than what you could get. Here are some other 1960s vehicles that would have been sold alongside this car, and as you can see, these weren't really built for the twisties. Now, us Americans back in the 60s, we weren't really great at turns either, and the Corvette C2 isn't amazing, but it was something better than the average car, and that's all it really needed to be. Like I said, paired to it is a 2-speed power glide transmission. It's fine, it's shifting and doing the job, but I'm not gonna ask any more of it. I would much prefer a 4-speed on the floor. Last but not least, of course, the Corvette is rear-wheel drive. How does it feel to drive a C2? Well, it is that really nice, relaxed experience. It's fun in the sun with a nice throbbing V8 up front. It'll go in a straight line if you push it. The 327 doesn't mess around, but just driving around North Jersey with the sun out today, I couldn't be happier to be doing the speed limit. It's a very, very joyous drive, and that's what the Corvette was able to offer in the early Cs before they started getting really crazy and pushing the performance. With that stuff out of the way, let's talk about the interior. Well, in front of me is very cluttered. I have tons of gauges, buttons, and switches. Off to the left, we have our headlights, fuel, battery, and speedometer, and off to the right, we have our tachometer, oil pressure, water pump, ignition, and our lighter. On the door, we do have a crank for the smoker's window as well as the crank for the main window, and a really weird latch to get in and out. It's sort of this ball that you pull back like a pinball machine. I don't know why Corvettes have never had normal door handles, but apparently it's true here with the C2 as well. Moving into the center, we do get a clock as well as our fan, air and defrost, volume and tone, tuning, and a vertical radio. So back in the 60s, it was kind of common to have a vertical radio as opposed to the more traditional horizontal that we're so used to. I also do have an ashtray down below and the shifter. It's kind of funny to just see park, reverse, neutral, drive, and low as opposed to 1 or 2 because it's only a 2-speed, so you got low and drive. That's pretty much it. And some dead space that unfortunately is not a cup holder, so the C2 Corvette fails the big friggin' bottle test. Then we do have these seat belts that have the Chevy bow tie on them. I really like that. And we have the seats. The seats are not great. They are very relaxed, and they very much remind me of either a first-gen Mustang, which came out at the same time, or the Ford Thunderbird that came out the decade earlier. They're little vinyl seats. They don't hold you in the car well at all. They don't have aggressive bolsters, but they're very friendly. It reminds me of sitting out on a patio during the 4th of July, so that is a perk of the vehicle for sure. However, we don't actually have any back seats, and we don't have a traditional trunk. There is an area behind the seats to stow luggage and other items, and of course the top, but there is no openable trunk that you might see on other vehicles. So, kind of an odd quirk. This really gives a speedster style feel, especially in the rear trunk area. But let's do a walk around because I think that the C2 is absolutely gorgeous. It's a beautiful looking car, and after we do this walk around, we will show the pop out or fold around headlights. They're not garage door, they're not pop up, moving headlights, whatever you want to call them. But I absolutely love the body lines of this car. I think it's sensational. I think it looks very, very good. And it just man, this thing looks like it'll fly to the moon if you let it, and I might let it. Speaking of flying to the moon, the astronauts were actually given the opportunity to lease C2 Corvettes from Chevy for $1. So during the NASA space program, while we were trying to race to the moon, this era of 1965, the astronauts were driving their Corvettes, and they would actually drag race them up and down the runways used for the space shuttle. So kind of a cool little piece of Corvette lore for you today. With all of that being said, let's get on to my final thoughts. What do I think driving this C2? It's been great. I really, really enjoy this car in a more fun cruiser way. Comparing it to the C8 Z06, it doesn't hold a candle to it, but that wasn't what the Corvette was back in the day. It wasn't supposed to be this super blood-pumping, toe-curling adrenaline machine. We had muscle cars for that. This was more of a cruiser. Now, yes, it does have a big V8, and it will push you down the boulevard pretty quickly, but this offered a great alternative to the British roadsters that were becoming more popular in the States. This is the American twist on a British way, and personally, I think we did it better. I'm just kidding. I don't think. I know that we did it better. Because quite frankly, and I don't take this lightly, there is no replacement for displacement. So here's a beautiful C2 to look at. I hope you guys enjoyed it, and I hope your eyeballs are pleased with what I've put before you. Huge thank you to Ken as well as the Rusty Relics Car Club here in North Jersey. Their information will be down in the description below. They've been super helpful with all of these videos that I've been filming. The C2 is just one of them. Absolutely gorgeous car, and I appreciate it very much. But I hope you guys enjoyed the video. Don't forget to rate the video, comment on the video, and subscribe if you really liked it. Take care, guys.